How could I, at 18 years old and barely scraping by, support a child on my own? And I would have been on my own. I was stressed out. I went home, my body ached, and I had this heavy bleeding. I felt so sick. I felt dizzy, nauseous. I felt like something was missing. I felt alone, but I also felt so resolved in my decision. Choosing to have an abortion was the hardest decision I had ever made. But at 18 years old, I knew it was the right decision for me. It was freeing.
I was not supposed to be here. I would not be here had it not been for the very brave choice that my mother made 33 years ago. You can imagine the fear, the disappointment, the struggle, the internal anguish that my mother felt as doctors told her that she needed to abort her child.
U.S. House representatives held what became a deeply personal and at times emotional hearing on the abortion issue last week. 3 Democratic members of Congress shared their own past abortion stories, and Republican Representative Kat Cammack opened up about how she was almost aborted herself. Take a look at this picture after the hearing in which Congresswoman Cammack embraces Democrat Representative Cori Bush, who shared she got an abortion after being raped on a church youth trip. But the hearing was also profoundly political and divisive, as the House Democrats who called for it said it was in response to, quote, threats to abortion. U.S. Representative Virginia Foxx of North Carolina defended the unborn, saying this.
It is becoming a common refrain for many women to say that, quote, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't had an abortion, end quote. Whether a pregnancy is planned or unplanned, or even the result of horrific circumstances, ending that child's life with an abortion to empower or protect the, quote, freedom, end quote, of the mother is not an answer. Abortion only compounds the sorrow.
In response to Texas's heartbeat law, the U.S. House of Representatives in September passed the Women's Health Protection Act, which would expand abortion on demand by preventing enforcement of existing pro-life laws at the federal and state level, and it would block the passage of new pro-life laws. It is not likely to pass the U.S. Senate. And joining us now via Zoom is Representative Virginia Foxx of North Carolina. Congresswoman, welcome back to the show. It was quite the emotional hearing on abortion last week on Capitol Hill. 3 of your Democratic colleagues shared their past abortion stories. As we know, the pro-life movement shows great mercy and love to women who have undergone abortions. Some of our most prominent pro-life leaders have had abortions. Congresswoman, what did you make of the hearing, and what do you want to say to those colleagues of yours who shared their abortion stories?
Well, first, I told them I think it's horrible that any woman gets put in a place where she has to choose, or she feels she has to choose an abortion and kill her own child. I just think that's a horrible situation to be in, and I don't wish it on anyone. But what I was so concerned about during that hearing was the use of language, and what appears to be happening in our country is the normalization of abortions. We should never get to the point where we see the taking of innocent unborn babies as a normal thing to do. Representative Cori Bush said she felt like something was missing. And certainly something was missing. It was her child that was missing. And I'm sorry she had the experience she did, but it's really not an excuse to kill your unborn child. And I'm very, very concerned about what is happening in this country, the language that's being used, the title of the bill, women's health protection. That's not what this is about. It makes no consideration for the health of the unborn baby.
Absolutely. Very well said. I'd like to get your reaction to other big news this week. The Biden administration announced it is reversing the Trump-era Title X Protect Life rule, which will now allow Planned Parenthood to once again receive federal family planning dollars. What's your reaction to this?
Well, Title X has always forbidden the use of Title X money for abortions. But over the years, Title X money was going into Planned Parenthood clinics in particular, where we know money's fungible. And so they were using that money not necessarily for abortions, but they could substitute the money they were getting from Title X and then use other monies for abortions. And that's wrong. That is not what we expect the money to be used for. Hardworking taxpayers do not want their tax dollars being used to destroy innocent life.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 1 minute left, Congresswoman, but following the enactment of Texas's heartbeat law and ahead of this major Supreme Court abortion case, we are seeing extreme pro-abortion measures being taken, including the passage of the Women's Health Protection Act. Can you respond to that and this claim that abortion is necessary for women's health?
Well, the main thing that the Women's Health Act is going to do is going to do a lot of things, but it's going to take away all the rights of the unborn child. It's going to take away all the existing safeguards. It's going to let the abortionist decide when a baby is viable, when a baby is not viable. Again, it overrides all state laws. It overrides any protection for the mother of the child. And that is so dangerous. We do not need the federal government stepping in where there are protections for the baby. And again, nothing's being said about the destruction of innocent life as a result of this, and it giving the abortion lobby what it's been asking for a long, long time, which is complete control over this issue.
Thank you for your pro-life leadership, Representative Virginia Foxx of North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you.